Lahti, the lineup now complete for the men's pursuit event, and Raphael Poré it is who's going to be leading this procession out of the stadium and hopefully heading to a result that will bring him the Pursuit World Cup title. If he wins today and he beats Rostovtsev of Russia by a fair margin, then he's going to set himself up for the favourite to be the man who takes the overall World Cup, but he'll have to wait, I think, until the very last race to see whether he secures that, because there are only 3 points between the top two men at the moment. Now you see the profile of the course, slightly longer than that of the women's, 2.5 kilometres each loop, 5 loops to be skied, so that makes up a total of 12.5 kilometres. Well, once again, the women's race, the outcome determined by the last two shoots, with a few shaky moments for Katrine Apel of Germany, but she came through in the end, and so once again the winner of the sprint has secured victory in the pursuit event. So that's 5 out of 8 on the women's tour. Well, the red bib indicating that Poré leading the Pursuit World Cup, and away he goes. He's had a tremendous season, really. When you think that he focused on the Olympic Games, it didn't happen for him out there, but he's come back, and having been way down outside the top 5 in the World Cup, he's now knocking on the door of Pavel Rostovtsev, saying, watch out, mate, because we've got 4 races to go and I'm only 3 points behind you. Frode Andresen of Norway has started second. He's very quick indeed. He started just 12 seconds down on Raphael Poré, and we should see that gap close fairly quickly, but it's going to be a case of shooting, and the Frenchman a better marksman than the Norwegian, that is certain. Sven Fischer starting third, just ahead of Egil Kjelland of Norway, and then Sergei Rozhkov of Russia gets a good start number. 54 seconds, though, the gap between himself and the leaders. It could change, but it's going to have to be a good race by Rozhkov and Rostovtsev, who is really under a bit of pressure now. He's a minute and 2 behind. Perner of Austria starts alongside his teammate Ludwig Gredler. Gredler, who had a pretty bad relay. Perner, 34 years old, so he must be coming to the end of his career, although maybe a couple of seasons left him. Zdeněk Vítek of the Czech Republic, 3 times he's been in the top 10 this year. He could do with a 4th to boost his World Cup position from down in 23rd place. Michael Greis for Germany gets going. It's the prone shoots that he's got to worry about. Had made mistakes in the relay yesterday. Looked good, though, in the standing position. Thomas Globešnik of Slovenia is away. Roman Dostal, a personal best for the season on Thursday to put him 14th. He's gone. Marco Dolens, number 15, is away. And Ole Einar Bjorndalen, even further down at 23. Was that him falling over? Surely not. He's gone through, but starting a long, long way off the leaders. And Bjorndalen will enjoy pulling himself back through the field, but it's going to be a long, hard struggle. Just ahead of Bjorndalen, in fact, is Paavo Purinen. Norway will, for once, have to turn their attentions to Frode Andresen, who certainly has their best hope of victory. Look at that, he's closed down 12 seconds on the first climb, and Poré won't be surprised by that. Noticeable how short the arm movement is now with many of these skiers. Not so much when they switch to the V1, the technique used for climbing the steep hills, but when you ski them skiing along the flats, it's just a short, sharp stab with the arms as opposed to the long drive, and I think it enables you to keep a more upright body. You can stay a little more relaxed. Maybe we'll get a good example of it later on as the men work their way across the top of these hills here in Lahti. That's the 800-meter mark as they approach the range for the first time. And Andresen appearing to have faster skis, but I think that's just a case of being in the slipstream of Poré. We'll get a better indication. If he pulls clear by the time they reach the bottom of the hill, then we know that the Norwegian technicians have done a good job, and you cannot underestimate how important the waxing man is, certainly in conditions like this where the temperature is likely to change as the day goes on. Andresen turning up the pace. Certainly he's going to make Poiré work for this, and the Frenchman has upped the tempo as well, so this could be an interesting situation. I think Anderson knows that he's going to miss 2 or 3 more targets than the Frenchman, but if he skis his absolute maximum, then he has a chance of making up the minute that he would lose from the shooting. We'll have to see what the tactics are. Sven Fischer moving into 3rd place. He's got Hjelland right on his heels. These two fairly evenly matched, although I would have thought that Fischer could out-ski Hjelland. But yesterday's relay, in fact, they went head-to-head, and they look pretty even. So once again, a day later, they find themselves in battle again. Hjelland, like last year, is finishing his season well with a good top 4 result in the sprint event. Wearing 5, that's Sergei Rozhkov, the slightly smaller Russian. And you can see the Russian suit, the Austrian suit, the two Austrians, Perner and Gredler. They haven't changed position as yet, so skiing side by side. Rostovtsev is biding his time down in 9th position at the moment. He's going to have to make a move at some stage. He's a very, very good shot. He's got the best record for shooting since the Olympics by a fair margin, actually, Rostovtsev, but he's going to have to shoot perfect today if he wants to finish in the top 3 and keep his hopes alive for taking the overall World Cup. It's been his priority for this season. As Oleander Bjorndalen has already worked his way from 23rd. He's gone past number 17. He's gone past number 18. And slowly pulling the gaps back. But a big shoot to come. The first prone shoot is going to be absolutely crucial for Bjorndalen. If he makes mistakes there, then surely he'll lose heart and end the chase. So Anderson making the ground on the uphill, but unable to shake Raphael Poiré on the closing stages. They will take lanes 1 and 2. Now Poiré in the summer months spends hours and hours just practicing getting from the skiing position down into the prone position and getting that round off quickly. And look at that, he's gained a second, and he's also gained a shot. But Poiré missing his first target, so if Anderson can stay clear, then these two could still hold positions 1 and 2. Anderson is just a fraction behind on the shooting. The last one must go down. It has. He's going to certainly be on terms at the end of the second loop, and he hasn't been shaken quite yet. So a careless mistake from Poiré. You wouldn't have expected that from him. And Sven Fischer with a chance of closing the gap. He started 31 seconds down. He's not going to catch the leading 2, but certainly he could get within 15 seconds. Change of the sights. You have to bear in mind that the men zeroed their rifles before the start of the women's event. They're all going right, and that one's gone high right. Oof. Oh, unlucky. It shook it, but it didn't fall. And Fischer finds himself with 2 penalties. Hjelland with 1. So of the first 4 skiers, no one has gone clear. And this is, I feel, the cause of it is the fact that they've had a long, long time since they zeroed the weapons. It has got brighter. The wind has picked up from the left, blowing left to right. And still no one's clear. Well, finally, Perner has got 5 out of 5. So he will move up through the order, but he's still going to be a long, long way down on the leaders. But an interesting situation developing now. Poiré and Anderson still the 2 leading men, but only 2 seconds separating them. And they started 12 seconds apart. Anderson making ground, but he's got to hold himself back for the second prone. Well, it's going to be very, very close between 3rd and 10th. Hjelland is the man in 3rd at the moment for Norway. A big gap between them. Perner in 4th position. All these men, anyone going clear is going to move up through the order. Rostovtsev is one of them. He's gone into 5th position, ahead of Fischer of Germany, who's 1:02 behind. Frank Luck, the winner of the individual World Cup, down behind Sven Fischer at the moment in 7th place and making ground. But here are the two top men so far. Poiré still with the lead. Will Andresen make a move when he comes up the hill? He looks as though he's just settling in behind the Frenchman. Now, you have to feel that would be a good move. Just to take the first two prones relatively easy and then turn up the pace. He knows that if he comes out of the last shoot on level terms with Poiré, then he's got the beating of him. But he's still completed then. No change with the leading two. Poiré and Andresen still dominating this race with a gap of 40 seconds or so over the third position. Hjelland of Norway in third at the moment. But from the first shoot, of the top 15 men, only 4 went clear. Rostovtsev, Perner, Frank Kluck went clear to gain a few places. And Thomas Globosnik of Slovenia, the policeman, has also gone clear. But not a good performance. Sven Fischer, in fact, missing 2 on that first shoot. He's still up in the top 6 positions, but has found himself a minute behind. Here is Sven Fischer skiing now with Pavel Rostovtsev. He's overtaken him since the range. And Rostovtsev looking to be in the same sort of form as Magdalena Forsberg, who's really is very, very tired, but still producing podium results, but unable to sprint for victory as she would have been able to do at the beginning of the season. 3.6 of the 12.5 kilometres now completed, and nothing between the two leading men. Poiré is hanging in there. This is a real opportunity for Poiré to open up the gap. He could get the yellow bib back almost surely. He'll get it back if he beats Rostovtsev today. Beautifully fluent style of Frode Andresen. Looks as though got a bit of a problem down there, and a quick change of ski for Egil Hjelland. Now that is only allowed if the ski is broken, so maybe Hjelland has broken the ski. They were obviously fairly well briefed as to where to do it. Good choice of position on the uphill section where there's no glide at all, but just in a wide enough spot so they can get off the track. And Hjelland taking, what, 7 or 8 seconds at the very most to change a ski. That's how quick it is nowadays. Rostovtsev still in 6th position, ahead of Frank Kluck. Rojkov has dropped down a few places, started 5th, down in 8th at the moment. But look how tight those times are. 1:16, 1:17, a bit of a gap between Dollens. Bjorn Dahlen up into, that's extraordinary, up into 10th already. He started 23rd, and Bjorn Dahlen on the charge. And just see if we can find out what Bjorn Dahlen's shooting result was. Surely he must have gone clear, because he's pulled up so many places. He missed 1, in fact, so he's already skied 1 penalty loop, but he's gone from 23rd to 10th. If he keeps that going, he's going to find himself in 1st place. But it's unlikely with these two men both working very well, skiing fast and not shooting perfectly, but 4 out of 5 on each shoot, I think, would probably still be enough to hold Bjorn Dahlen off. Now, Andresen has got to settle himself down. He does tend to get carried away. Worked hard since Christmas on changing both his prone position and changing the discipline, just taking his time. Look at that, 2 clicks look like clockwise. So aiming a little further down and a little further left, and that would tally with what we saw from the first shoot. 1 apiece each for Poiré and Andresen, and Andresen rattling through them worryingly quickly. And the last one has missed. Oh, so has Poiré. So once again they match each other. That was a chance for the Frenchman, but I feel he must have realised that Andresen missed and just rushing that final shot. But there is no doubt that they're affecting each other's performance, and that is always opening opportunities for those coming from behind. So on to the penalty loop, and Is that Perner? I think it must be Perner coming in to shoot. Has seen them disappear there, so he'll know that he's got a chance to close, but he won't know how many loops they've got to do. Perner on the range now as Anderson comes out of the penalty loop. Now maybe it's time for him to turn it up. His standing shoot has been a little suspect over the last few months, and he knows that Poiré is very, very solid indeed. 7 pursuit wins to Raphael Poiré over the years. Frode Andersen has 4, so neither of them are strangers to the pressure that leading a pursuit provides. And Egil Kjelland has shot clear again. Good shoot from him. Sven Fischer has made up for his first poor shoot, where he missed 2 of the 5. He's gone clear this time. Frank Luck has matched him and won't lose too much ground to his great friend and rival. Rojkov of Russia is starting to put it together. Rostovtsev once again solid. He's gone clear for the second time, but he's not skiing as quickly as we would have expected. Derkach of the Ukraine has gone clear for 5. Dolins once again. Now Bjorn Dahlen with 2 misses this time. He missed 1 on the first, 2 on the second. He's gone from 23rd for 10th. You have to feel that he's going to drop a couple of places now, and he'll have to ski his socks off if he wants to close on the top 5. The chance of Bjorn Dahlen taking the overall World Cup. I think they've already gone. They went in the sprint event when he missed 5 in the prone position. De Frasner of France has gone clear with 5. Shabalov has gone clear. Puranen of Finland, the best of the Finns over the last couple of weeks, has also gone clear with 5, and the standard of shooting improving between the first and the second shoot. And look how close that is. It's going to be an almighty finish to try and squeeze into the top 10. But here are the top 8 at the moment. Anderson leading 1.9 seconds between himself and Poiré, and it's Wolfgang Perner of Austria who's got a little bit of a cushion in 3rd place at the moment. So it's the same 2 men in the first 2 positions, just a little swap with Anderson going ahead of Poiré, taking his turn at the front, and unable to break the Frenchman so far. Down in 3rd position, Wolfgang Perner of Austria, who's shot clear, along with Pavel Rostovtsev, who's shot clear, but Rostovtsev not making the same amount of ground. Egil Kjelland of Norway in 4th place. Sven Fischer there in 5th place and starting to pull away from Frank Luck and Rostovtsev. Sergei Rojkov wearing 5 on the left of the picture. The tempo much, much slower. Doesn't look to be full of running at the moment. And Ludwig Gredler, the older of the 2 Austrians, back outside the top 7 at the moment, but still with a chance of a top 3 should any of the leaders make mistakes. These 2, though, moving at a different speed, involved in their own race, really. Anderson hasn't won so far this year, and he's put in some really good results. He certainly deserves a victory. Poiré's had his fair share. Didn't have the best of Olympics, though. Finished 10th in the individual, 9th in the sprint. Got a silver medal in the pursuit event. This seems to be his forte, and as I mentioned, 7 wins in the pursuit format, 2 of them coming this year for Poiré. And, of course, the French taking a bronze in the relay event, but they are the world champions, so they were... Well, I think they thought that the bronze was as good as gold, because Germany and Norway were the 2 stronger teams by a fair distance, and they all performed well to get that bronze medal. So they're delighted with those efforts, but they were hoping to claim at least one of the individual golds, but Norway and Bjorn Dahlen denying them right the way through the games. Perner losing a bit more ground, 59 seconds down now, but the gap between himself and Kjelland is anything but comfortable. 8 seconds. Sven Fischer slowly closing down on Kjelland. Those 2 have had 2 days of racing head to head, and Kjelland at the moment with the slight advantage. It's not massive. Frank Luck still there as ever. Rostovtsev, the World Cup leader, in 7th at the moment. Rojkov down in 8th. Now remember that Rostovtsev and Raphael Poiré, and in fact Oleana Bjorn Dahlen, all rested yesterday, not entered into the relay race, and they should be fresh. Frode Andersen, well, he was partly responsible for Norway's good run in the relay. They didn't win it, but they came in 2nd place. The gap between themselves and Germany, 49 seconds in the end. Andersen, though, if you're a fan of his, the bad news is it was the standing shoot that let him down, and he's still got 10 targets to hit, all in the standing position. Now, the first moment of truth then for Anderson. These two have matched each other right the way throughout the race, skiing at the same pace and shooting exactly the same number of targets. 2 misses each so far. Now, Anderson once again settling very quickly. So there's a bit of work to do now for Anderson. He's got 1 extra loop to ski, and Raphael Poré finds himself in front for the first time since the start of this event, where he had a 12-second gap. It's going to be maybe 15 seconds or so. We'll wait and see, because they've come out of the range almost together. There they are, and Anderson has 1 extra loop to ski. So we'll add a second onto the time, and we'll be able to work out exactly how long the penalty loop is taking. Wolfgang Perner with a chance to go second, but he'll have to hit all 5. Well, that's just the breathing space that Poiré wanted, and I think he's been waiting patiently for the standing shoot, because he knows he's a superior shot. He's still missed 3 today, 1 on each shoot, and I hold by my prediction that 4 out of 5 will be enough to bring him victory if he hits 4 out of 5 again. Perner finally gets one. Well, he's not going to make any impression on the leaders. Hjelland is going well, 4 out of 5. Sven Fischer's got 5 out of 5. He's back in the top 3. So, well, Hjelland is going to find himself in 4th place, but a very, very steady run. Frank Look taking his time. The wise old fox will just take a little longer than the others, but they've gone down. No penalties for him so far. Rojkov has got another 5. Rostovtsev, 15 out of 15 for him, and that is why he has been up the top of the World Cup leaderboard for so long. Just incredibly consistent with the rifle. Bjorn Dahlen now skiing like the wind, but the shooting has let him down so far. Already done 3 penalty loops, and he's going to have to do 1 more. So 2 Norwegians in the top 6, 2 Russians in the top 6, a Frenchman and a German. In fact, 2 Germans there as well. But it's France that lead, and Raphael Poré with a quick glance over the shoulder just to see how much damage he's done. 20.9 seconds. Well, so about 22 seconds to complete the loop, and that's the quickest man on the circuit. So there you get the impression, and that is the penalty incurred for every missed shot. So Poré has got a gap, but we'll get another time split hopefully before they come in for the final shoot. And I wonder what Anderson does now. Does he put the pressure on? Well, he certainly looks as though he's skiing hard. He's going to try and close it down. He wants to come in alongside Poré and just maybe distract him a little. It's not fair. It's not poor gamesmanship. It's just the fact that if you are there and putting pressure on your rival, then the shooting performances tend not to be quite so good. If Poré were to get in and out of the range before anyone else arrived, then he would just be going through his normal training routine, and you seldom see him miss when he's training. But the race situation multiplied when you have the presence of someone who you know can ski faster than you. Sven Fischer and Egil Hjelland still locked together in 3rd and 4th place. They've swapped positions on this occasion. Well, in fact, they've swapped every time they come through the chute. So maybe that will happen again, and it will be Hjelland who heads for that 3rd position on the podium. Frank Luck still there, and Rostovtsev getting ever closer to the top 3 places. He's gone clear so far and deserves to go to the top 3 or 4 should he shoot 20 out of 20, because it's not so often we see that sort of performance. Perner had been going well. He was clear after the first 2 prone shoots, and then he missed 3 in the standing. Ludwig Gredler, not a race for him to remember. He's missed 5 so far, and Zdenek Vitek has gone 1 worse. He's missed 6 of the first 15 shots and is dropping down through the order. But should be mentioned, Frank Luck has also gone clear, so 2 of the top 5 men have shot clear so far. 20 seconds between them, back down to 6.9. Oh, he's working desperately hard. He is working very, very hard, but in his favour, it is an easy approach into this range in Lahti, and Anderson, as fit as any man on the circuit, he'll recover pretty well, but his pulse will still be 5 or 6 beats per minute higher than I think he would have liked, and that is a risky situation to have for your last shoot. So the chances are that we're going to see this his last 5 rounds sprayed all over the place. If he hits 5, then I take my hat off. But he's been in this situation so many times this year, and he has lost races on the last standing shoot, not only in the World Cup but in 2 of the individual races at the Olympics. It would be sad to see it happen again, but I think every Norwegian watching will have their fingers and toes crossed, but it may not be good enough. Fischer 50.6 seconds down. You can see quite a big gap between second and third, so really it is a battle for 3rd position, and there are 5 or 6 men who could still claim it. Fischer, Hjelland, Luck, Rojkov, Rostovtsev. Well, Rostovtsev certainly has lost the edge, hasn't he? He's not got the fight in him, and it's nothing to do with his mental attitude, because that hasn't changed. It's just the fact that he's been going so well all season that finally you have to tire, and it's come just a week too early. Raphael Poré, on the other hand, has sat out a number of races this year, and that was in an attempt to bring himself into form for the Olympics. That didn't really work for him. He was going well enough. He did come home with a silver and a bronze, but he wanted more, and he wanted some gold as well. But Poiré had to do without. But if he takes the World Cup title this year, I think he'll be happy. And on my books, he's a clear favourite at the moment, despite the fact that he's in 2nd place at the moment. Number 37, Alexander Wolf, getting the call up for the German squad today. Now the last shoot, moment of truth for Frode Andresen. Will he get a better chance to win a World Cup this year? I'm not sure he will. If he comes out on level terms with Raphael Poré, then he has a chance. Poiré's so consistent though. So 2 loops for Anderson. The damage is done. It's a familiar scenario. 300 extra meters. They've only got 2.5 kilometers to go of the race course. So Poiré with 2.5 kilometers and Anderson with 2.8. I'm afraid it was on the cards a long time ago. Poiré has done it again. It's going to be his 3rd pursuit victory of the season. Anderson will he finish in 2nd? I think he's going to have enough in hand to outski the likes of Fischer and Hjelland, who've still got to come through the final shoot, but they're on the range now, and if either of these 2 can hit 5 and hit them fast, then they could have a little bit of a ski race with Frode Andresen. Not something that they'll be looking forward to, but it could happen. One miss apiece, and Anderson is safe in 2nd, so another 46 points for him, but it's not what he came for. He wanted the win, but he's going to have to settle for 2nd. Hjelland and Fischer, neck and neck, right from the start of this race, and they've shot exactly the same yet again. Now, a chance then for Frank Look. Hasn't missed the target so far. Neither has Rostovtsev, who's in the range, but yet to clear the first target. And Frank Look has gone clear. He's got a chance of going third. And Fischer will have to watch out because he's only halfway round the penalty loop. They're going to come out almost neck and neck. So two of the greatest rivals in the game sprinting towards this finish in Lahti. 2.5 kilometres to go. Which one is it going to be in front? Poiré and Anderson are away. They're clear. Absolutely safe in first and second place respectively, but third is anything but decided yet. There goes Fischer. Hjelland should be just outside him, but Frank Look gets in between the two of them. 1:13 for Fischer, 1:17 for Look, and Hjelland just a few metres behind. This is going to be tight. Now Fischer is the quicker of those two, and I think Hjelland has got to go ahead. If he wants third place, he's got to go ahead of Frank Look, and he's got to try and close the gap on Sven Fischer on this first hill, and then get in and slipstream him right the way into the stadium and see whether he's got any fast twitch fibres at all for a sprint finish. So they're at top 5. Those positions won't change, but the shooting a mixed bag. Anderson 6 misses and he's still up in second place, and comfortably so. He won't, I don't think he'll even attempt to close that down. All he'll do is make sure that he stays in second place. It's a real shame because it's always nice to see a new winner on the circuit, but Poiré is heading for win number 6 for this season, and he's going to be back in yellow when they head to Holmenkollen for next week's round of racing. Just 3 races to go, and he's hit the front at just the right time, and you have to feel that it's going to stay with him now, and Pavel Rostovtsev will have to come back next year. Maybe tempting fate a little, but that's the way it's looking at the moment. Not just because Rostovtsev is going to lose more points in this race here in Lahti, but also due to the fact that when they take away the 3 worst results, Poiré won't lose anything because he's not raced in 3 of them, and Rostovtsev will still lose points. Well, it's not often you see Sven Fischer getting caught on the last loop, and I don't think it's going to happen now. He's opened up a big gap over Hjelland since they came out. They were literally 2 seconds apart as they exited the range and went on to the penalty loop, but Fischer round that very quickly indeed, and he's built a comfortable margin between himself and Frank Look. Now the race really is between Hjelland and Look, and I think Hjelland is the better of these 2 skiers, but he can't afford to leave it for a sprint finish. Is this him going through? Yeah, here he goes up into 4th place, and Frank Look has a look behind him as if to say, well, I'm not going to chase you, but I just want to check that there's no one else who's going to come through. Well, here's the style and fluency of a winner, and he really is on supreme form. And I mentioned it earlier in the season, but I was fascinated to hear that Raphael spent quite a few weeks during the summer training with a ballet teacher who just taught him about body posture, body position, and the correct use of the muscles. And obviously, I guess there was a lot of balance involved and a lot of developing the strength in the feet. And it really has paid off, because his skiing, well, it was always good, but this year it's absolutely impeccable. And he's as fluent as Ole-Einar Bjorndalen is, but Bjorndalen with a slightly better engine. But his eyesight seems to have gone off for the last couple of weeks of this season. Bjorndalen, remember, started in 23rd position. And has been racing hard, but missing targets much of the way through. He's missed 5 targets, in fact, today, so 1 less than Frode Andersen. And, well, we could well see Bjorndalen move into the top. I'm sure he'll finish in the top 10 with just 5 misses, but it's still more points lost, both to Poiré and to Rostovtsev, and he's going to find himself 50 points or so behind with just 3 races to go. think Poiré was probably shocked there to see someone out in the woods. It's been very, very quiet outside the stadium. A few more people in the stadium today, but it's great weather conditions. And it literally is only a 10-minute walk from the centre of Lahti up to this stadium. So no excuses. Really just, I guess, the publication not good enough. Or maybe they just get too much of a good thing up here. The World Championships held here on numerous occasions. The Nordic World Championships. And obviously the flying ski jumping World Cup. They don't have a ski flying hill here, but plenty of ski jumps. A good week's work then for Raphael Poiré. He got to rest during the relay and it has paid off. He won the sprint event on Thursday and now just cruising home to victory number 2. He's picked up 100 points in the World Cup. It's going to put him in the front ahead of Pavel Rostovtsev of Russia. And I just have a feeling he's going to keep it right the way through to the end of the season. Is he heading for his 3rd successive overall title? Well, to go with the World Cup points, he's also picked up over 12,000 euros for his efforts here. And, well, he looks as though he hasn't even broken sweat. Incredible stuff. Good ski, held his nerve on the last shoot. Frode Andersen, well, I don't think we were expecting him to do so, but another 2nd place. 4th in the World Cup standings at the moment. He'll close a few points down on Ole-Einar Bjorndalen, but I think the gap between those two is too big for him to hope that it's going to close. Also, of course, the Pursuit World Cup to worry about, and Raphael Poiré has pretty much tied that up now. I can't see anyone beating him. I'll have to confirm that later on. If we don't get time today, obviously we'll bring you the news of that in the next round of the World Cup. Here's Egil Kjelland coming through to outsprint Frank Look at the finish and claiming 4th place. So Kjelland decided that it wasn't worth chasing Fischer. Fischer was allowed to come home in 3rd, but Frank Look in the end just denied, pushed down to 4th. So the top 4 positions on the screen, 2 Norwegians, 1 German, and it's the Frenchman at the top. Now, is this Ole-Einar Bjorndalen? I think it is. He's coming in alongside Perner of Austria, but Perner of Austria started 7th, and Bjorndalen, never known for his sprinting, but he's hanging on in there. Is he going to get it? It's going to be very, very tight. Yes, he does. And Bjorndalen finishing in 6th. He started in 23rd. That is the best gain of positions we've ever seen in a pursuit. Great run, but he did miss 5 targets. He's 1:44 behind, and 5 targets. Well, if you add 22 seconds on each one, you can see that if he'd gone clear, he would have been giving Poiré a run for his money yet again. But it didn't happen. Ludwig Gredler losing places, started up in the top 7. He's finished down in 12th. De Frasner of France goes in 13th. Roman Dostal, another good top 15 run for him. So 2 personal bests in 2 days for him, and finishing ahead of Paavo Purinen, the first of the Finns across the line. Hi to Lahti. Disappointed with his relay performance yesterday. The Finns missing out on a possible top 3. Michael Grice, another 18th position. He'll pick up more points. His aim is to finish as high up the World Cup standings as possible, bearing in mind, of course, that he hasn't raced all the World Cups. Zdenek Vitek dropping over 10 places, down in 21st. It all went wrong with the first standing shoot for Vitek, and a disappointing run in the end. Halvard Hannevold, who we saw take the anchor leg for Norway in the relay yesterday, unable to catch up with the Germans. Frank looked just too strong on that occasion, and another poor run for Hannevold. In 28th position, picking up 3 points, Bjorn Ferry of Sweden. No Swedes in the top 30 of the World Cup this year, and that result won't push him up there either. Bergman for Sweden down in 30th. He gets 1 point, just ahead of Jano Prantz of Estonia down in 31st. But these men already 3.5 minutes behind today's winner, Raphael Poiré. Well, there's no doubt that Poiré goes top of the World Cup leaderboard, and I have a feeling we're going to have to leave rather quickly, which will mean we may not even get the World Cup rankings. But I guess you could get yourself onto the IBU website, and they'll be posted in the next 45 minutes or so if we do miss out here. Gilles Marguet, who took the first leg for France yesterday, very good relay run, but it hasn't really worked for him today, over 4 minutes behind. Ilmar Brisis of Latvia down in 37th, and Rusinov of Russia losing a whole host of places, down in 38th. He's been missing targets left, right and centre. Vil Räikkönen, 41st for Finland, so still the Finns really don't have anything to shout about, and maybe when they do, we'll start to see more people turn up to watch these races in Lahti. Well, Poiré, a very, very successful week indeed for him. He's won 2 more World Cups, so he's picked up the 12,000 euros, and he's also put himself in an almost unbeatable position in the Pursuit World Cup. So that just about wraps up the action from Lahti. Still plenty of races to come from Holmenkollen next week. I hope you'll join us for that. Well, there we have details. Thursday it all starts, 14:15 European time. If you're watching on British Eurosport, that's 1:15. So here we get just confirmation of the results today. Anderson, a brave effort, but 6 targets. You can't hope to win with Poiré if you're going to miss that many. 15.9 seconds the gap in the end. Sven Fischer in 3rd position. Another podium finish for the great German. He'll keep his position in 5th in the World Cup rankings, and will just close the gap down a little on Ole Einar Bjorndalen. But Bjorndalen limited